Hi everyone, welcome to another very exciting episode with I Am Food Venturist. Today we have a very special guest with us, Chef Johnson Ebenezer. He is a chef that I've been actually being very actively following. We have actually met long time ago, and I'm so happy that he is here with us today. So let me welcome Chef Johnson. Chef Johnson, please welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me over here, sir. Means a lot to me to meet a friend from the past year.
Absolutely. So, Chef, without much further ado, can you just briefly tell us a little bit more what you actually do and tell us a little bit more what we are so excitedly want to hear about farm lore and how it is actually revolutionizing fine dining here in India?
I have to first of all thank the Almighty to start off with. To be here and to talk about what I'm doing is more of a dream come true.
Okay.
To be honest, I started my career well back with the Taj groups and then went on to work around the world and then came back to India to start off something which is sustainable gastronomy. That's the word which I call ourselves, or ethical dining, because people wanted to know where they are getting their particular food source from.
Okay.
And I think Farm Lore was an answer to that.
Okay.
And it all happened during the whole COVID. And Farm Lore is a small little restaurant in the outskirts of Bangalore with seats only 18 seats, 18 for lunch and 18 for dinner. That's about it. And I do ethical dining practices over there and let people know that we are sourcing all these ingredients in ethically, and also tell them about those things of how difficult it is to do something which is not really reasonable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's luxury doesn't come with only money. So we have to be much more ethical to the environment which we live in, because tomorrow if we don't do these things the way how it's supposed to be, we'll not be having a tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
In today's hustle bustle where everything is like faster, quicker, immediate, quicker, and this one, I think this is much more slow down approach towards food, dining, and also experience, right, Chef?
Yeah, it starts from the booking. It actually starts from the planning, I would say. People normally come to a space to enjoy, to celebrate something which is their success.
Okay.
So we want to have a space which creates experience around that.
Okay.
So when you're starting to create an experience about that, it's basically a 5-day period, or 5-day or 6-day period. So normally people make the reservations at least a week prior.
Okay.
And then the reservation closes 24 hours prior as well. So there's a sequence of calls which we make to ask people what they are okay with, and there is a planning. So the whole meal is like a 3-hour meal. 3 to 3.5 hour experience is what we call. It's not only about food, it's about knowing more about food and the stories beyond, and that's why it's called Farm Lore. Okay. It's the stories of the farm as well as the people around it as well. That's
really amazing. So yours, actually the restaurant is set in a farm. Am I right? It's like an extended garden.
Yeah, if I say a garden, no, it's a 37-acre farm.
Wow, that is a farm.
Yeah, it is a 37-acre farm, which was a farm which had 5 different kinds of mangoes first.
Okay.
All from Nellore and southern part of India.
Okay.
Basically, Raspuri, Imampasand, Totapuri. Those were the 5 different varieties of Malika, Badami as well. So 5 different kinds of mangoes was there before when we came. So these mango woods were not pruned. So we started pruning a lot of mango woods, and we pruned them. We got enough wood to cook.
Okay.
So that's when we said, let's cook only on wood fire. So then the whole process of farm to table come into the existence, and people during COVID, it kind of helped us as well, because we were trying to get few ingredients. We were not able to get ingredients. Gas was not there. And how we places like all those places where I used to supply vegetables were not there anymore.
Absolutely.
They were not able to send ingredients out of India as well.
Okay.
Because crab and things like that was sent out of India.
Okay.
And at that particular time, we got hold of few suppliers who were not able to send those crabs out, and they were happy enough to send it to us.
Okay.
So those minor details are the one which shaped what Farm Lore is at the moment.
Absolutely. So like necessity is the mother of all invention. I think during COVID time is the time that actually Farm Lore actually came into full-fledged, where I believe that you guys used to go and deliver experiences to people's home.
So initially the whole plan was not Farm Lore.
Okay.
Initially it was going to be called Lore.
Okay.
Lore as an art of storytelling through food. So from folklore. So we used to take a story, let's say the best story which we always say is circle of life.
Yes.
So we take 7 short stints. Again, it's an interpretation of Rajnikant's great song,
Yes.
Yetti Yetta Manushan
Valkai
Vaalkai
Pirichikko.
Pirichikko. Yeah, so something like that. So we take that and we make courses around that.
Okay.
So the first dish was a umami milk. The first milk which we drink is an umami milk. So we did courses like that. We used to tell stories through food.
Okay.
And when stories through food was happening, it gained a lot of traction. And we were going to get a restaurant in the center of the city.
Okay.
And because of COVID, we had to do Plan B.
Okay.
And Plan B was making people travel far away from the city, but closer to food. So that's where Farm Lore came into the picture. So it became from lore to farm lore. It's a story of the farm.
That's simply amazing, Chef. Chef, right now I'd like to pause at this particular moment and I would like to go back to the beginning. Because I know like in today's modern storytelling, you not necessarily start from the beginning and end towards the end. We start a little bit, give the introduction, and then that's called non-linear way of telling the story, right? So you have cooked all the way right from, I think, from India to Alaska, I think to quite a few exotic destinations and different parts of the world you cooked. So can you tell us a little bit more in terms of how your journey started in the culinary pursuit, and how did it actually start and today to what it is right now?
So I had my uncle, My uncle actually is my father's brother. He is one of the sixth sibling for him.
Okay.
Everybody else was a cop in my family.
Okay.
Like even my grandfathers were cops. Even my aunt who married was a cop. So everybody was a cop in my family. And only one uncle, his name was Anthony Dasan.
Okay.
He did not want to be a cop.
Okay.
He just told my grandfather, who's also a cop, his name is Velangani, who also told him, I don't want to be a cop. So he went on to work for Taj Coromandel. And then in that particular time, he went on to work for cruises. So he used to send postcards from different parts of the world.
Okay.
And that used to come to my home.
Okay.
And I used to see those postcards, and this guy is wearing jackets, wearing a Levi's jeans. Levi's jeans are pretty easy these days, but those days Levi's jeans and Nike was one of those things.
Dream things
To get, or even for that matter, just to open open a luggage box and smell the aroma of abroad.
Correct.
Yeah, things like that, small things. So that kind of enticed me. And I wanted to be like him as well, to travel around the world. And when I asked him, how do I travel around the world? He said, you can be a chef and you could travel around the world. And then I applied to IHM. I got the seat, and then it was a short craft course, I would say. Just finished it there. And then I said, I wanted to, there's IET trainings and things like that. I went on to work for Taj Coromandel. And I was with Taj Coromandel for 3 years. And then I applied for myself to go to the US or the cruise lines. Started working for cruise lines over there. And that cruise line actually took me around the world.
Okay.
Yeah. And suddenly over a period of time, I thought I have to just go and learn more things. So I went to my uncle, who was already working in a restaurant in Texas, moved to the whole east coast of United States and started working over there, understanding more about cuisines and cultures. Then 2008, I felt I need to come back to India because my sister was getting married and she wanted to go to US. And then I came back to India to take care of my family, and then the journey again started.
Okay.
So it's like it comes back to that same question. Yeah, it comes back to the same answer, I should say. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically how my whole career spanned out. And then coming back to India, and then I made more friends over here, started working for 5-star hotels again. But then I want to do something special. So that's when I got a reach from Malaysia. Went there, did a restaurant called Nadodi there, got featured in the Michelin Guide.
Wow.
And then I felt that I had to come back to India and start something of my own. Due to my previous connections, I met Kaushik. Kaushik was my founder. So I reached out to Kaushik and said, hey Kaushik, I got a concept. But he's the only one who said, let's build it together. He did not ask me for P&L or things like that. He just said, let's build it together. So I came back. And he came to KL, convinced me and said, Bangalore's got a market. I came down over here, saw what Bangalore is all about, and then Farm Lore came in, and then Farm Lore came in.
That's amazing. So, Chef, your family is stationed over here and keep traveling between Bangalore and Chennai?
Yeah, it's a 5-day work week, which we have done. I would say it in a very proud manner. It's a 5-day work week, which we do over here. So I basically still work in Bangalore. I live in Chennai.
Oh, wow.
So every Mondays and Tuesdays I'm back here.
Okay.
And that's why, every Mondays and Tuesdays back here, and Wednesday I'm back to Chennai, and I spend 5 days fully driving Farm Lore.
Okay. That's really amazing, Chef. And the thing is that we also have been not stalking you, but keeping track of your progress right from the Nadodi days, which actually had reached out. And when you are actually here in Westin, we had the opportunity to work along for that Chennai Food Guides event.
Yes.
And subsequent to that, what you've been doing with Lore and Farm Lore, we had the privilege of actually seeing you from, and it is a great sense of pride for us. In the sense, நம்ம மெட்ராஸ்ல இருந்து ஒரு பையன் வந்து போய் இந்த போடு போடுறாப்லயே, and we are getting listed as as someone that that is some of the best chefs in the country, probably in the world. So that is something that is of great pride and joy to all of us. So we are very, very excited for this journey. And that being said, Chef, how has the entire journey been? And how was the progress for you so far from what you started to what it is now?
No, so I have to go back to this. This is how should I answer this particular question? If God had asked me that I would be a TED speaker in 25 years becoming a chef, I'd take it. so yeah, it's been great, but it also had its own course as well.
Okay.
There should be a lot of patience, there should be a lot of dedication, commitment, I would say. And when you put all that in place, and I think the world just gives it back to you.
Absolutely. That's very, very nicely put out, Chef. இப்போ நீங்க, I understand that everything that you're trying to resonate with, the experience that you're actually giving in Farm Lore, is everything is centered around a story. So when you're creating a dish, how does that the story of that particular dish, how important it is, and how do you go about putting all these things in sequence and making sure that it is being expressed correctly across to the guest?
So I should take a small little example for this particular question. We don't create the stories, but we put those keys. It's like Ansel and Gretel. You just have to plant those seeds and the story would just bloom by itself.
Okay.
So I'll just tell you about one common thing. We call it the nerele or naval param.
Okay.
So we made a sorbet out of it.
Okay.
And we deck it up with some sanikata salt and some chili pearls over it. Just to make you understand that when we eat nagaparam or nerele, we put some salt and chili powder on top, and that's what we eat. Absolutely. So we actually served this particular sorbet to a 90-year-old gentleman whose name was Ravi. Okay. So he had the first taste of it, and he called me from there and he said, "Chef, can I have another piece of it?"
Okay.
I gave another serving. Normally in fine dinings, we don't do that. You don't serve. So he called me again and he said, "Can you get another one?" So this is the third time he's calling me.
Wow.
I again went back and gave again another. Then I asked him, "Sir, why are you so very fond of it?" And he said, "I'm 90 years old, and it took me to the time when I came out of my school."
Wow. Okay.
So we did not create the stories, the ingredients which are already there, and that has created a small little story there.
Absolutely.
So that's how I say we create stories like that, and we select ingredients which kind of creates those stories as well.
Absolutely. So, Chef, you are actually putting up these ideas in front of people, and automatically the story comes into existence, depending on people's experience in this one. And I guess you figure a lot of this out when you're actually talking to the guests prior to their arrival in terms of their preference of food, how they would, what would they like, what do they not like. You put all these together, and is that how it actually pans out?
No, first is about working with the ingredients.
Okay.
Or that seasonality. So as I told you a few minutes back, it's about that nerele season or the jamun season. It's very hyper local. It's only for 45 days or 50 days. So people who come at that particular time resonate with that particular story. There are numerous amounts of stories which each ingredients can bring forth.
Absolutely.
So it's just like an open, like I love this particular statement which I put it up in my kitchen as well. It says like the world is a canvas, we should keep on painting.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of things around in this world, and there are a lot of stories to be told. We just have to put it out there and make you the star so that you come into the story.
Absolutely.
And that's how we create stories. But again, there is a lot more thought process behind when we are creating ingredients and more stories as well. Like one particular instance story is like sitafa. Sitafa is one of my very prized possession dishes, which I would say, which born out of my small little experience.
Okay.
When I went to Kochi, I saw the whole seashore was full of plastic.
Okay.
So we thought like, why can't we depict this in a plate?
Okay.
So it's basically a metaphor of how we are contaminating the ocean. So we created a course which looks like plastic, which is not, but it's made with potatoes.
Okay.
And how coconut came through sea.
Okay.
So it's with spirulina and coconut and then there's a fish there, and then there's crude oil, how we contaminate the ocean, but using an edible charcoal. So it's like bringing all these things together, putting it out there. The story is not there just for you to resonate with this. It's also going to make you think.